Still sitting at 71.
Still says that it needs an oil change, so I don't know what I trust on this truck.
We are live. So those of you that are on the live stream, you've got Meteorologist Andrew Stutzke here with you, alongside photojournalist Anthony Panagucci. I got your name right this time. So we are awaiting some storms that are currently sitting off to our west. Again, we've been kind of watching this situation ever since last night, where we noticed the threat for some severe weather had been increasing. We are right next to Interstate 74 near Galesburg. That's where we're at right now. We're kind of sitting here and waiting as we've got some storms off to the west. We've actually been noticing the sun trying to make an appearance. I'm going to pan this camera over a little bit so you can kind of see our sky conditions that we're working with right now. The key to today's severe weather was, again, trying to get some sunshine for a good hour or two. And so far, that really hasn't materialized. For much of us, we're just seeing these little patches of clearing come in. But there you see, we're starting to brighten things up a little bit. And overall, the severe risk is highest the further south you go from the Quad Cities, especially south and east. So I'm going to switch the source over and kind of show you what's going on in terms of the radar right now. So there's our location, Interstate 74, just again northeast of the center of Galesburg there. There you see the line of storms that we're watching. Right now there's no watches or warnings in effect, but there is likely some kind of a watch coming for areas south and east of the Quad Cities here, likely in the next hour. The Storm Prediction Center, they're monitoring this line of storms and saying there's a good possibility that we're going to see a watch issued at some point south and east of the Quad Cities. The strongest activity is just now getting ready to cross the river here near Fort Madison, and also to the west of Burlington. That's where we could see some wind gusts, perhaps up to 35 miles an hour, and we may see this intensify a little bit more. The polygon that you're seeing on the screen there, that's a special weather statement, not a severe thunderstorm warning by any means, but there you see where the line is heading. So Mount Pleasant going to be getting some strong winds here shortly, and then that'll move into Fort Madison and then Burlington. As you look around the rest of the area, it's fairly quiet. There's some scattered showers and storms near Iowa City and just points to the east. The Illinois side of the river still fairly quiet, just a few scattered showers. But all eyes are going to be on this area down here, and I'll circle it for you. We're really looking at this region for the potential of seeing some stronger storm activity as we head through 3 o'clock and beyond. And what we're talking about today in terms of threats is going to be large hail, perhaps up to quarter size, perhaps ping pong size at most, damaging wind gusts of up to 65, 70 miles an hour, and also a chance to see an isolated tornado, especially in the area that I've circled here on the interactive radar itself. So that's what we're looking at for threats today. Again, a good idea to make sure you have the Storm Track 8 app or the News 8 app. You can use either of them. They're both available. They're both free. But there's the satellite view. You can see there is a little bit of clearing down to the south here towards Quincy and also into extreme west central Illinois, south of Macomb. So there's more energy down there for those storms to work with and utilize themselves to get a little bit more going in terms of the severe threat. Meanwhile, further to the north, you see a lot of thick cloud cover here in the immediate Quad Cities as I've got the satellite overlaid there. Let's go to another layer. Let's actually see if we can pull up the future radar here. Let's get the layers situated here. Precipitation and radar, that's what we want to see. So let's put the future radar on here. And there we go, future. And let's see where things are going to go or materialize, if you will. Let's go back, there we go. So you can see there's already one severe thunderstorm warning out, and that's well to the south. So that would be just west of Quincy. But other than that, we're going to be watching this area right here for some potentially scattered stronger activity as we get into the next couple of hours here. Let me take you back outside so again you can see kind of what we're looking at sky conditions wise. We are getting a little bit of sunshine down here in Galesburg. You can see that sun coming up there. Let's go above. You can see a few breaks in the clouds there. So we're kind of watching that. Again, the better energy for severe storms today is going to be south and east of the Quad Cities. So that's why we're currently situated in Galesburg, right next to 74 here as we await that line of storms to come in. So you've got total coverage for you today. We've got Chief Meteorologist, that is, James Zahara in the studio. You've got me here in the Beast, of course, Morgan in for Eric this morning, giving you the latest details and the timing and all that good stuff on when we're expecting this. Again, the farther south and east you are from the Quad Cities, the better potential you have of seeing some active weather for this afternoon. And it's been a really quiet start to the severe weather season overall. We have been very fortunate in that regard. Not nearly as lucky as we have been in past years. It's certainly been a very calm year. And it looks like that's going to be the case once we get past this event today. I don't see much in the way of severe weather coming in the next week or two, because temperatures will be a little bit cooler. Here's another look at, or idea rather, of where the higher risk of severe weather is today. So you're looking at especially areas near Aledo, down towards Roseville, Galva, Toulon. Those areas going to have that potential to see some stronger storm activity. Let me rotate my screen there so you can see that a little bit better. Again, a low threat for tornadoes. We're also looking at a more elevated threat for some wind gusts up to 65 miles an hour, and some hail is also possible with this activity as well. We're looking at the time frame of now until about 7 o'clock this evening. That's what things are looking at from that perspective right there. Now we got some more clouds filtering in here, so it's a wait and see game in terms of what these storms are going to do off to our west. We're going to keep a very close eye on that. Also watching the communication from the National Weather Service. They're watching that line of storms. They just actually issued a statement for, again, that kind of same area. They're saying winds possibly gusting up to 45 miles an hour with that line as it's moving through. So not severe yet, but we're going to be watching that again, because they could potentially tap into some of that instability that's growing here as we're seeing a few peaks of sunshine. You may have noticed today too, it's a little more humid than what we had this past weekend. So we've got the moisture in play, we've got that, we've got a little bit of instability growing, and that's kind of why we have this threat for some severe storms here as we go throughout the next couple of hours. Let's see. Let's go back to, so yeah, this is the setup for today. The fact that if we do see that sunshine, there it is. So if we stay cloudy, which we have for most of the day, this keeps the threat isolated for severe weather. If we do get some sunshine, which we've seen a few peaks here, especially near Galesburg, that's where we add that fuel to potentially see some stronger storms. So today has really been all about, can we get some instability going to get some of these storms to potentially become stronger here into the afternoon. Let's see. Finally got the comments up. Let's see. Hey Tina, you're welcome. Sophie, no comment. I don't know what you're talking about. Susan, you're welcome. Hey Gina, yeah, we will definitely stay safe. Crystal says hi from Dubuque. Tyler's wondering if we're going to get a severe weather watch issue for the Quad Cities. If it is, it's going to be, I think, the further southeast of the Quad Cities. So the southeasternmost part of that region is where they're watching. So I'm going to zoom this out again and explain a couple of features on this screen. So you see this blue line here. I'm going to kind of outline it for you. This is the area that the Storm Prediction Center is currently monitoring for a watch. And notice it's just to the south and east of the Quad Cities. So this is the area here that they're thinking may likely get a watch here very shortly in this shaded area that I'm kind of shading in. And notice it's awfully close to the immediate Quad City. So that remains to be seen. The most impressive storm activity continues to remain centered here just to the west of Burlington and Fort Madison. That's the area of storms that has the better organization with it, if you will. And it's also going to have the better dynamics too, because the temperatures are warmer down here compared to what we saw temperature-wise as you look for the immediate Quad City. So that's why I think if we do get a watch, it's going to be for areas south and east of the Quad Cities overall. We have a question about Aledo, what they can expect there. Some gusty winds, certainly looking likely. Let's zoom in here on Aledo. There's Aledo on the center part of your screen. As we put this line into motion, you notice the trajectory on this takes it towards Aledo here. And you're looking, let's see if we can get a distance on here. Give me a second. So Aledo, we're about 40 miles away or so. So we're looking at about a 45-minute to an hour time window here for when that storm's going to be getting into Aledo. Again, nothing severe, no warnings in place right now. They're thinking about a watch for areas south and east of the Quad Cities, but nothing produced or issued as of right now. Just kind of monitoring things, if you will. We've lost our sun here again. We've got some thicker clouds moving in. Overall, not a bad day. Very nice, a little humid. You've noticed the humidity creeping up a little bit more today. That's thanks to that added moisture coming in. That's what's adding to the severe threat, if you will. Yes, this is moving northeast. Dave says quiet in Burlington, but skies are dark to the west. Yeah, that line of storms is getting awfully close to you there. Bonnie's wondering about Sterling Rock Falls. I think it's going to be very conditional for Sterling Rock Falls. You're a little bit further to the north. Could perhaps see some gusty winds with this activity. The tornado threat, though, I think is going to be more to the south, especially as we get down towards where we are here near Galesburg. Tammy's wondering what about the potential to see the severe weather in Galva and how soon. We're thinking right about 3:30 for Galva. That line is about an hour away, so about 3:30 for Galva. Again, damaging wind is going to be the biggest threat with that line as it's coming through, especially with today's dynamics that are in play. So let's go back to that radar, and you can see here what we've got going on. So again, there's no warning in place or watch right now. What's being outlined in the polygon there, that is what we call a special weather statement, advising that that line of storms has winds gusting up to 45 miles an hour. So as I put this into motion here for you, you can see where it's going to be heading here. We're moving this off to the north and to the east. It is getting a little bit of a bow to it, a little bow signature, especially just to the west of Danville. You're noticing that line start to protrude out a little bit more. Let's see if we can throw up the velocity data and see if we've got some stronger winds, and we do. So there you see where your stronger winds are going to be. And looking at this plotted on the radar itself, those are wind speeds that are approaching 50 to 60 miles an hour. So we'll see if we get a warning out of this storm here coming in shortly. This would be west of Burlington. There you see the wind speeds are beginning to pick up right to the west of West Point, where you're seeing that really light teal color. That's where we're seeing some stronger winds. Let's see if we can go ahead and dissect some of the wind speeds here. So this, when you're this far away from the radar, things can get a little bit iffy. I don't know if you can see that. It's probably fairly small on your screen. But right now, radar is estimating winds between 60 and 65 miles an hour with this particular line of storms that's to the west of Burlington. So we may see something come out on this here yet, if those winds can ramp up a little bit more. But again, we're so far away from the radar, sometimes the data can be a little iffy. That can be the wind speed much higher off the ground. It may remain still inside the storm, and it may not even be reaching the surface here or the ground. But certainly there is some wind starting to pick up with that line of storms that's to the west of Burlington. So eventually, if you track this out here, if you take the trajectory, this is going to be moving right towards Aledo. It's also going to be, of course, moving towards Burlington. Then eventually we're going to be talking about areas very close to Galesburg here. So we're in a good spot to potentially look at this thing as it comes in. Then you're going to be talking about areas like Kewanee, south of Geneseo. Those areas potentially seeing some strong winds from this too. Now once this all moves out of here after, say, 6, 7 o'clock this evening, that's going to be it. We are not expecting any more storm development for the remainder of the night. This is going to be all we're going to be seeing for today. I know we need a little rain. It's been a little dry around here. It looks like we're going to be getting that with this line of storms that's coming through. Lori, we are just outside of Galesburg. We're actually on the northeast side of town on Interstate 74. Terry's wondering about Kewaunee. Yeah, eventually that line is going to move up to the Kewaunee area. The bigger threat for seeing an isolated tornado is down where we are here near Galesburg and Point South, down towards Monmouth, Macomb. But strong damaging winds certainly going to be possible up in Kewaunee here. That's about an hour and a half away, by the way that storm is. Let me throw that back on the radar there so you can see. There you see the trajectory of the storm. It's moving to the northeast. So yeah, eventually we are going to see Kewaunee get in on some of this activity here. Hopefully that answers your question there. Thanks, Jeff. It's Oak Run, so that's actually also in Knox County. Don't let your guard down on that. Again, we're looking at that line of storms coming in here very soon. Likely in the next half hour or so, based on the speed and trajectory that I'm seeing there. Sorry, I'm going to switch sources so you can see what's going on outside with us there. Dave says in Danville, the thunder cranking up pretty good there. Yeah, you're just at kind of the apex here. So there's Danville. Let's throw the velocity back on here and see what's going on with the wind. You've got some really gusty winds getting ready to move into Danville. So the lighter the teal color, as we go from that green to that teal, that's where your gusty winds are. So there's Danville. And yeah, you've got some wind coming in here just at any moment, really. We'll continue to watch that. There are definitely some strong winds in there. And again, there's no warning for this. They haven't reached the warning criteria. Some of these wind speeds, because we're so far away from the radar, are likely occurring aloft. They're not being realized at the surface quite yet. So that's likely why we don't have a warning on that particular storm, at least as of right now. Again, still monitoring communication with the National Weather Service, but as of right now, there is no warning for that storm. That is a special weather statement, but definitely some gusty winds coming out of that particular storm. Hi, Carol. Yeah, Buda definitely could see some strong gusty winds with that storm that's coming through, especially if it maintains its strength. I don't see why it wouldn't, because we've had a little bit of sunshine here. Likely going to be seeing that continue as it heads off to the north and east. Thanks, Dave. He says it's raining very heavily in Danville now. Let us know what happens with the wind, because again, we've got some fairly impressive wind velocities coming through on the radar, but it's so far away that I just don't know if that's being realized at the surface or not yet. Lisa, I don't think you need to go to the basement in Monmouth necessarily right now. There's nothing posing an imminent threat as of right now. Again, we'll keep an eye on it. You got a ways to go yet, about 30 minutes or so. Impact time here in Galesburg is going to be after 3 o'clock. We're looking at about 3:15. In fact, you can see our skies are starting to get a little bit darker as we show you on our live camera feed there right now. Levi's saying, I believe the sirens are going off in Burlington. Dave says the rain is going sideways. I would bet it is. Yeah, there's definitely some strong winds going on within that storm. Terry, impact for Kewaunee is going to be after 3:30, between 3:30 and 4, looking at the timing right now. A couple people asking about Davenport and the Quad Cities. We'll get you some timing for that. Again, I think this is going to stay more to the south and east of the Quad Cities. This is more of a Galesburg, a Monmouth, a Macomb area for the strongest winds, especially down there. Even down towards Aledo, that would probably be the farthest northern point that I would be looking at in terms of getting a wind threat up in this area here. All right, I'm back with you guys. Sorry that we have our News 8 storm chasers here. Corey Marshall joining us. Probably can't see him. But I did want to let you know that a severe thunderstorm watch, it is forthcoming. It'll be for southeast Iowa and west central Illinois. It will not include the Quad City Metro. Let me repeat that. The severe thunderstorm watch that's coming here in just a few moments is not going to include the Quad City Metro. So this is, again, going to be focused for areas south and east of the Quad Cities. And let's go back to radar, because there you can see why. Again, you're still watching that almost a Boeing segment at this point, really starting to nose its way up there just to the east of New London with some potentially strong wind gusts. There's the radar velocity data, and again, where you have the teal, that lighter blue, that light baby blue color, that's where you're seeing wind gusts approach 50 to 60 miles an hour. So we're going to keep an eye on that. But the watch itself, that'll be issued here shortly. In fact, it was just put out, and it looks like that's going to go until 9 o'clock. Let's see here. Yeah, they're going to get the details here shortly. In fact, there it is. It actually just popped up on the radar display. You see the watch box. So it looks like we are going to include, of course, Galesburg. That was almost going to be a given, I think, at this point. Down towards Macomb. Also going to include areas such as Stark County there. Doesn't look like this is going to go up to Bureau County or Henry County, as you hear our weather radio go off there. So let's see if we can open up another app here and get a visual of what this severe thunderstorm watch looks at. So we're going to head to the app here. and see who they've got in terms of the county. So this you can get on either the News 8 app or the Storm Track 8 app. It looks like they are including Bureau County. We are including Henry County, Knox County, McDonough County. Who else? Warren County, Stark County. I see you've got Mercer County on there as well. So we'll see if we can get a visual of that watch. In fact, if you're following us on social media, there should be something posted if it's set up correctly, which is this is going to be a first test for this system. That the severe thunderstorm watch should automatically post to the WQAD page here on Twitter anyway. It should be posting momentarily. So I'm going to work at getting that up for you guys here so you can see where that actual watch is here. If not, I'll use another source, which I might have to do because I see it's not there quite yet. Sometimes it takes a minute. So let me go straight to the National Weather Service so you can see where the watch is. So there you go. You see again, mainly south and east of the Quad Cities. That's Henry, that's Bureau. You've got Mercer, you've got McDonough, Warren, Knox County, Stark County, excuse me, also included in that watch. And that will go until 2 o'clock. So there's till 9 o'clock. So there's the information we're looking at in terms of the threats. A couple of tornadoes certainly possible, especially the farther south and east you are. That's where the better instability is. Scattered hail up to lime size possible. That's a new one. I don't think I've ever heard it called lime size hail before. Maybe that's the new ping pong. I don't know. You've got wind gusts scattered anyway of up to 70 miles an hour. So there's a visual of where the watch is. Again, it does not include the immediate Quad Cities, and it also does not include any of extreme northwest Illinois or eastern Iowa. This is all on the Illinois side, which is not surprising. That's where the bigger threat for the severe weather is going to be as we head into late this evening, especially later this afternoon, I should say, and early this evening. Don't think I've seen it yet. That makes me nervous when I don't see that thing posted on our Twitter feed yet. Those things are kind of hard to test because you can only really test it when we get something in this area to know that it's going to shoot it out and post it. So unless it's hidden from my feed, I don't see it quite yet. So we'll see. Maybe it'll pop up there. But this will be an interesting test. I apologize in advance if anybody's Twitter feed gets bombarded with a whole bunch of stuff. But hopefully it works. We'll see what happens with that. So there's the National Weather Service just confirming the watch that has been issued. Just looking at some of the details here in terms of what we're expecting in terms of probabilities. So here's what we have for probabilities right now. So we have a probability of hail, right now severe hail anyway. That's in the moderate category. The probability of 2-inch or larger hail, also in the moderate category. 65 knot-mile-an-hour winds, which is a very strong wind speed, by the way, when you convert that to miles per hour. That's low, but severe wind speeds of 58 miles an hour or greater is in the moderate category. The threat for tornadoes is also low, and the threat for a strong tornado of EF2 or greater intensity is also rated low. So that's severe thunderstorm watch. That will go until 9 o'clock this evening. They're talking about this initial cluster that's currently down towards Burlington and rapidly moving off to the northeast. May begin to organize a little bit more and perhaps tap into some of the instability that's managed to grow here and produce a little bit more in the way of wind and again perhaps an isolated tornado. We have no warnings in place right now, but we do have a new severe thunderstorm watch that is in play until 9 o'clock this evening. I'm going to uncheck some of these things because it's going to start to really crowd up the screen. So let me get that off of there and we will go ahead and put the radar back up so you can see where that looks. So let me turn all that stuff off. Let's go back to radar scope so you can see what's going on. Again, no warnings right now, just the watch until 9 o'clock for areas south and east of the Quad Cities, Illinois side only. Nothing on the Iowa side. But still a good amount of bowing going on with that line there. And what we've got coming through is we actually have a little mini low pressure system that was spawned from the storms that were just to our west last night. And some of that rotation getting worked in to this line of storm. So that's why we have that threat for a little bit of an isolated tornado per se as we get throughout the next few hours. Let me pop the velocity back on again. There you see some strong wind gusts, basically blanketing much of Mount Pleasant and even much of Danville at this point too. Getting ready to head into Burlington, so some strong gusty winds, perhaps up to 45, 50 miles an hour. That'll be coming into Burlington here shortly. But notice as the storms are getting closer to the radar, you're seeing those wind speeds begin to decrease a little bit. It all has to do with the elevation of that angle that we're shooting up into the storm itself. So some of these winds may remain in the storm as opposed to flowing down at the surface here and becoming damage producing, if you will. So that's what we're going to be watching as the storms get closer to the radar site. So Burlington, it's really at your doorstep right now, and also same thing for Mediapolis too. This will be heading for Keithsburg, New Boston, Wapello in less than 15 minutes. And then we're going to be seeing that come towards us here in Galesburg sometime around the 3:30 hour here as we get a little bit closer. So that's the update on that. Just like clockwork, there it is. So this was waiting for the National Weather Service to finalize those counties. But there's your severe thunderstorm watch. So yeah, you can see Aledo, Geneseo, Cambridge, Princeton, Buda. I know we've had Buda mentioned a couple of times. Toulon, where we're at in Galesburg here. You've got Monmouth and just to the east of Burlington. So those are your areas that are under the threat for some severe weather here in the next few hours. That severe thunderstorm watch that will go until 9 o'clock this evening. So conditions favorable for the development of that, including large hail, damaging winds, and some isolated tornado activity too. So anywhere in orange there that you see that, that's where we have the severe thunderstorm watch that's in play for the next several hours actually. I'm going to check in really quick with the comments just to make sure that we're still here, obviously. Not really seeing any rotation right now. Again, as luck would have it, it seems like every time we have our first severe weather event, it's always down here. And of course, it's got to be far away from the radar where the data is not nearly as reliable as what we can get as it moves closer. But as of right now, I don't see any rotation going on with any of that activity that's coming through Burlington. Very, very quiet in that term. If anything, I just see the potential to see some stronger wind gusts, perhaps up to 50 miles an hour, because we don't have a warning issued for this as of right now. So there you see, if we were looking for rotation, what I would be looking for is red right next to green. We're not seeing any of that here in Burlington. So there you see we don't have any rotation with this particular storm. We've got all of the wind moving in one direction, which is what you want to see when you're looking for anything to not be tornadic. If we had red and green colors right next to each other, that would be concerning, but we don't have that right now, at least at this very moment. Still just kind of a healthy looking line segment, if you will. Now, there have been cases where you can get these little spin-up tornadoes to occur right on the edge of this, or the nose of this line, as it marches off to the north and east. So we're going to be watching that. Again, the velocity data is going to be key to telling us that story, but no warning yet for anything here. There you see down towards Quincy, a very strong storm. In fact, that does have a warning with it. Let me switch over to see if maybe we can get a better view from KILX, or maybe another one that's in Missouri. Probably the Missouri one's a little too far away, yep. But let's go to the Lincoln office. And yeah, that's a pretty potent storm near Quincy. If you look at the velocity data there, not really seeing too much. Oh, look at that. That's out of St. Louis. All right, let's go to the St. Louis one. There you go. Now you're seeing. So this is what we would be looking for up at Burlington. You see how we have the reds and we've got the greens next to each other there? That's what we need to see for rotation. So that storm by Quincy is rotating, according to the St. Louis radar. If you look at our radar, though, and we go back to the Burlington storm, you don't see really any rotation within there. It's all green. It's all one color. And that's certainly some good news. Wind speeds seem to be decreasing just ever so slightly, but the span or the magnitude or the coverage area of those wind speeds, the stronger wind gusts, is increasing, the sizes anyway. So we'll see what happens as that continues to move off to the north and to the east here. Let me put the regular picture back up there for you so you can see what's going on. Some heavy rainfall certainly pushing through Burlington right now. There's Minneapolis, which that just blew through. This is coming towards Keithburg here in less than 5 minutes now. Also coming for, it looks like Grandview, just the south side of Grandview there, could see some strong gusty winds too. We've lost the sun again here in Galesburg. We've risen maybe a degree. I think we've been bouncing back and forth between 71, 72 degrees. We haven't really seen a whole lot of sun here today, but we may have, again, just enough instability to pull off some stronger wind gusts here shortly. Yeah, sure. I had to Google map it because I was not sure where that was. But now that I know where it's at on the map, now I know. So some new information there. Lori's saying she doesn't hear any sirens in Burlington, which I was kind of surprised that they would be letting the storm sirens go in Burlington of all places, because there is no warning that's issued, unless they're doing it to just tell people a storm is coming. Because again, some of these towns, every town and city has their own siren protocol. Some of them will sound for warnings. Some of them will sound if there's a storm coming in and it's not warned. So it really just depends on where you live. Just getting an update from my producers here. There's no confusion. Also just wondering if the toss could we see sound. Okay. James has got that, I think. We'll certainly try. Tyler, yeah, near Quincy, that's where we've got the warnings. And that's right, we just looked at that a few minutes ago. Julie says it's raining in Keokuk, but not much wind. That's some good news. A little strengthening of the storm that's west of Carthage. That's a little bit out of our viewing area. That's more for the Quincy market. That would be east of Keokuk. So that would be one to kind of watch as it gets towards Macomb. Meanwhile, yeah, we've still got that line kind of bowing out a little bit here coming into Aquaqua now. Let me put that back up there for you so you can see what's going on. Not really anything rotation-wise, again, as of right now, but just some strong gusty winds, perhaps up to 50 miles an hour with that part of the storm there. All right, so we're going to go on another little radar tour here, just kind of seeing what's going on. So I'm going to go back to velocity, and of course this is where we're measuring wind speed. So you've got an interesting little bit of a development here as Corey and I were just talking. To the south and east of Keokuk, you see we've got some of that red, that faint red starting to show up on the radar there. So there's a little bit of a hint of rotation, if you will. Especially in the upper levels of the storm. Again, we're so far away from radar, we're really looking at the top of the storm overall. I'm going to switch to central Illinois, see if there's any bit of a different view. Kind of the same view on the central Illinois radar, but there is a little bit of some rotation trying to take place with that storm. That's east of Keokuk. And you notice too, and Corey pointed this out as well, the lightning activity has started to pick up just to the east of what we believe is pronounced Nauvoo. Interesting name there. That's the neat thing about doing the storm tracking, is you discover all of these towns that you had no idea existed. So if we're pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure you guys will let me know in the comments section, but that's what it looks like to me anyway. So no warnings right now. Again, kind of keeping an eye on it. We may have to make a little bit of a jaunt to the south here eventually, just seeing what's going to happen with the stuff that's near Burlington there. But certainly that storm that's southeast of Fort Madison and east of Keokuk looks like it's a little potent in terms of its display on radar there. Let's go back to the velocity data. Let me switch back to that site so you can see that. Starting to get a good amount of lightning with that, and also again a little bit of rotation south and east of Keokuk, and that would be right near Elviston, another new town that I've never heard of before. Put an animation on that. Now if we put the, let me loop this for a second, and then we'll put the trajectory on where this is heading. Let me get that in my mind here. So let's stop that. So that little area of rotation, so we're looking at Carthage, and right through here. So near Bushnell, this would be north of Macomb, south of La Harpe, and then eventually getting into Avon is what we're looking at for that particular area there. Something to keep an eye on. I mean, it looks like we're trying to get some organization going here with that particular cell. Again, no warnings. We have no active warnings for any of our region. The nearest warning would be down towards the Quincy area. That's where they've got a severe thunderstorm warning for a little bit more organized looking cell there. Here's our view outside again. We are pretty much cloudy again. And it looks like we're probably going to stay that way for the foreseeable future, just looking at what's coming in here. Laura's wondering about Sterling Rock Falls. You're not included in the severe thunderstorm watch, so therefore I'm not anticipating really any severe weather up in the Sterling Rock Falls area the way things look right now. Julie saying some good thunder and some good lightning in Burlington right now with some strong gusty winds. Dave giving us an update from Danville as of 3 o'clock, seeing some steady rain, wind, thunder, and lightning. Julie saying rain in Keokuk, but not much wind. Thank you, Julie, for that. just a heads up, there will be some periods of quiet on the stream, of course, as I kind of go through the radar data and do a little bit of analysis. Just kind of looking at where things are right now. May have to reposition a little further to the south. Going to keep an eye on it. I'm going to have to make a decision here by about 3:30 or so. But we may position ourselves just a little bit further to the south, perhaps down towards Macomb. We'll see what that storm looks like here in, say, the next 15 minutes or so. Yeah, central Illinois. It does look like, though, that once we get past these storms today, we're going to be in another lull for at least another week, maybe week and a half. Yeah, maybe mid-May. Yeah, it's going to be quiet again. We're going to be stuck in northwest flow, which is just locks us into this cooler pattern, and it really doesn't let any moisture come up here, any instability. Yeah, you know, things may pick up again in June, July. We'll see. June and July are definitely active months for us. No doubt about that. It's not just May. Though I know a lot of us love to put all of our eggs in our April and our May basket. We usually think those are going to be the big producing months, but it could be delayed. It could be June. Could be our month for seeing some stronger storm activity, so we'll see how that works out. You're welcome, Laura. Thanks for checking in on the live stream. Julie saying the rain has stopped in Keokuk. Hey, Linnell. That's what I'm going to kind of watch regarding the Galesburg threat. It may be just a bit more to the south. And that's kind of something, again, that we're watching as we look at the radar, just because the instability, the better moisture, etc., may be a little bit further south. I wouldn't rule Galesburg out completely, by the way, at least as of right now. I think that's still in play. Again, we're just kind of keeping an eye on it as we await this line to move in from the west. That is, let's see. I hate being in between sites. That is southeast of Fort Madison, I believe. Yep. Is that where we're looking? Yep. Let's loop that and see where we're heading here. Oh, yes, it has. We put the...
Supposedly they're moving due east. I had it east go down towards Good Hope.
I feel like we've been in Good Hope before.
You have.
On more than one occasion.
You have. I think not last year, but the year before, you followed me down there.
Yes, I remember that. I may not remember a lot of things, but I remember some of these adventures that we go on occasionally here, if you will.
Well, then there it goes.
Refresh this here. James says he's having a little bit of trouble accessing National Weather Service chat, so I think I'm still connected here, though it's been awfully quiet. Oh, it's still working on this end, so maybe there's a bad connection there. Just refreshed here, and it's working. Yeah, so pardon again the quiet moments here, because we're kind of going back and forth with the radar here. May need to reposition, just kind of keeping an eye on it. I do see we have a new special weather statement that was just issued for another good chunk of the area, likely to just give you a heads up that we've got some strong winds coming in, perhaps gusting 45 to 50 miles an hour. I'm pulling up that information right now, and then I will show you on the radar. So that's going to be for Des Moines County, Louisa County, Henderson County, Henry County, Mercer County, Rock Island County, and Warren County. And that is for Again, the threat to see some strong winds, potentially up to 50 miles an hour and some pea-sized hail. So no warning on this. This is sub-severe. It's not strong enough to produce a warning at this time. But let's go back to the radar really quickly, and this is the area here that we're talking about, having the potential to see wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour right in here. So if you're in that area there that I'm kind of shading really quickly with the marker, that's where we're going to have that potential of seeing some wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. So that would include Aledo, Viola, Matherville, Preemption. We're also looking at Woodhull, Alexis, Monmouth. Getting this into Galesburg here again, I think after 3:30. Likely as of right now, you're looking at about 3:45. And then crossing Interstate 74 and getting into the rest of Knox County, and then also getting into Henry County on the Illinois side of the river here. Dave says it's good sleeping weather. I guess. Hey, Linnell, nothing coming up for Elizabeth or really anywhere in the US 20 corridor. It looks like there's just no real ingredients for the storms to work up there. These storms are moving at 45 miles an hour, and there's a little bit of a northeastward jaunt that these are having with them, too. We've had a question about Abington. Yes, we are looking at some gusty winds coming your way, likely just after the 3:45 time frame there. It's so far away from the radar. If we had some better instability, no doubt I think the damaging wind threat with that Boeing segment that's going up to Wapello and Aledo would be a little bit higher, but we just don't have a whole lot of instability to work with. Yeah, it is, yeah. Mm-hmm. Not a whole lot of lightning up there towards Wapello and Aledo either. You're getting some just to the west of Little York. Let's see, what way are we facing? You facing west?
Or west.
West. Oh, I see, they changed the icon. So what you're looking at on our camera view right now is you're looking due west into that line of storms. You can see we're getting a little bit more darkness on the horizon there, looking to the west. There's Interstate 74. Getting a little darker. Let's pull you back into the radar here, and you can see our location. So there we are, just on the outside of town in Galesburg here. And there's our line coming in. Again, no warnings on this as of right now. Let's go back to velocity data. You can see we do have some strong wind gusts, 45 to 50 miles an hour. The National Weather Service currently rating this at 50 miles an hour, so not severe. We need 58 mile per hour wind or higher for gusts to have a severe thunderstorm warning issued, and we don't have that criteria being met here. Some strong winds southeast of Wapello, though, heading into New Boston. Some gusts likely to 50 miles an hour, where you're seeing the brighter green or teal color, depending on how your eyes are processing that color there. Also some gusty winds heading through Keithsburg. Soon to be into Aledo, the wind's going to be picking up here. They're picking up already in Joy. That's heading from Millersburg. Some of the stronger wind gusts, Eliza, Buffalo Prairie. You've got Preemption and Matherville. Also going to be seeing some stronger wind gusts here fairly shortly, within the next few minutes. Let's see, anything? Just checking back in with you guys that are on the live stream here. Linnell's saying they've had a lot of gray sky, cloudy skies up towards Elizabeth there. Yeah, that's just why there really is no threat that far north. When you look at the grand scheme of things, you just have not had the amount of instability needed for that. A couple people asking, when is Davenport going to be affected? This is going to stay south of Davenport by all indications right now. Could still see some gusty winds, perhaps up to 40, 45 miles an hour, but I don't think there's really much of a threat on the Iowa side at this point. This is really going to be an Illinois threat, especially south of Interstate 80, the way things are lining up right now. So let me take you back to the radar, because that will help answer a couple of these questions that are coming in here as we go on a little bit of a tour again, if you will. So there's the current state of affairs. Again, some gusty winds south of the Quad Cities with that kind of a Boeing segment, if you will. It's kind of neat because you can actually pick out the feature that's driving the weather here today. We've had an MCV, or in layman's terms, a very small area of low pressure that has developed off of the storm cluster that was in Nebraska and Kansas last night. So there's where it is. It's sitting to the northwest of Burlington, and it's pushing this activity up to the northeast here. So the strongest winds likely going to be within this line here, potentially gusting up to 50 miles an hour at times, and that's moving off to the north and east. So we're looking at really the impacts staying south of the Quad Cities, but we're still looking at impacts here in Galesburg. Now looks like right about 3:45, if just not slightly after. Getting into Kewaunee here, closer to 4:15-ish, somewhere between 4:15, 4:30. That's what we're looking at for Kewaunee timing there. This will be interesting because we may just see the majority of this actually get out of the area as we near the 5 o'clock newscast. So usually it's kind of the opposite. Usually we're sitting and waiting for the 5, and then once we get the 6 going, some of the action will begin to pick up. Doesn't look like it's going to be the case here, though. It looks like actually this will be moving into Bureau County, especially as we near 5 o'clock here. No warnings in play, just a severe thunderstorm watch, and I'll go over that with you here again. Let me pull Twitter back up. Here's where the severe thunderstorm watch is, and that's going to go until 9 o'clock this evening. And it does encompass mainly Illinois side, does not include the Quad Cities, but it does include, as you can see there, Henry County or Bureau County, all the way down to Henderson County, and then you've also got with McDonough County, that's the one I'm looking for, and then Knox County, Stark County, what have you. So that goes until 9 o'clock, that severe thunderstorm watch. And so far, a lot of the action has proved to be just a little bit further south. Brenda says the winds are picking up actually in Mequon right now. This stays south of Bettendorf, Kewanee. Again, I think we're looking at about a little bit after 4. Sherrard, some gusty winds moving in there within the next half hour at least. This stays south of Bettendorf. Tammy says she hears thunder north of Abingdon. Stacy says getting dark quickly in Monmouth. Linnell's got sprinkles in Elizabeth. All right, so we're going to be moving a little bit further to the south. For those of you that are on the live stream right now, we're going to reposition ourselves almost just to the south of Abingdon, or Abingdon, excuse me. I made that mistake last week. You think I would have corrected myself by now. Abingdon, that's where we're going to be heading here for our new position. All right, so I'm going to give you a little bit of an update here as we reposition ourselves where we're going, why we're going, where we're going. So we are actually going to be heading a little bit further to the south. We're going to be heading towards Abingdon. And if I look at the radar here, which I'll pull up for you in terms of why we're heading there, we've got a little bit of broad rotation with this area right in here. And that is located just to the west of Macomb. That's going to take a little bit of a northeastward track here, and that will eventually take it into Walnut Grove, which is south of the WQ80 viewing area. So we're going to try and stay within our region here. But we're going to be going fairly close to where Abingdon is, north of Avon there. And you notice we've got Roseville on the map too. So that area of broad rotation that we've been watching for a little bit, it's starting to get a little interesting. We're starting to see it become a little bit better organized. Again, we have no warnings with any of this stuff going on right now. No warnings at this time. But we are watching this area of rotation here that is just to the northeast of Fountain Green, again south of our viewing area, but it is heading up to the north and to the northeast. So eventually this is going to get into extreme southeastern Warren County there, and eventually into extreme southwestern Knox County as time goes on. So that's why we're heading to that area right now. Again, no warnings in play. This is just something that we've been noticing with this line of storms that's coming through. Could still see some wind gusts south of the Quad Cities here as you head towards Muscatine, Andalusia preemption, near 45 to 50 miles an hour. No warnings in place for that. Again, these winds are not severe. They are below severe limits. So we're not seeing any warnings issued with that. But that activity will continue to spread up to the north and the east. So that will go into places like Geneseo here, likely as we head closer to 415. Probably thinking more 415 for Geneseo. Same thing with Kewanee. We're thinking about 415 for Kewanee for some wind gusts of up to 50 miles an hour. Below severe levels, we do not have any warnings again issued for that activity. But here's the one that we're watching very intently here. And this is the one that if I put the velocity data back on, that we have some very broad rotation where you're seeing some of those reds and those greens close together. That's where we've got some winds heading both towards and away from the radar. And that's what we're going to be watching. So as I put this into kind of a storm path, if you will, I'm actually going a little bit further to the north and east of what the radar is estimating here. The radar is estimating more of an eastward movement. I think we're getting a little bit more northeastward movement with that. So we're kind of putting that rotation within that band right there, and that does bring it into extreme southeast Warren County and also extreme southwest Knox County here within the next 30 minutes or so. So again, no warnings, just something we're noticing and we're keeping an eye on as that storm is trying to get a little bit better organized. There you see some of the rotation again, just northwest of Macomb. It's not strong rotation by any means, but there is something trying to get itself organized within that there. So we're going to keep an eye on that. If you're joining along, we are heading south right now on 74. We're going to try and get a little bit closer to the storm there that's got that potential for some rotation coming in there. Audio will be going in and out, of course, not only because of the connection that we may lose at times, so bear with us. Also need to give the voice box a rest too occasionally as well. We are going to be doing some live hits coming up for News 8 at 5, 6, and most likely the 6:30 as well. I think honestly, probably even by the time we get to the end of the 5, the threat for severe weather will likely be done at that point. But again, we'll see what happens as these storms continue to develop here. Yeah, Lisa is correct there. I do take some momentary pauses so I can look through some of the data, analyze the radar, check in with the National Weather Service. As soon as we get new information, I'll definitely make sure and pop some audio back on here for you as well. Nothing new to report right now. I see cars in there saying the wind is picking up in Monmouth. Thank you for that too. Again, if you have some reports of what you're seeing, absolutely feel free to share those in the comments section here. But yeah, some gusty winds certainly moving through Monmouth right now as you're getting a little bit of that outflow from the storm itself. Just kind of keeping an eye on what's going on down again to the north and west of Macomb, where we're starting to see some rotation here. And by rotation, let me show you on the radar screen here. So here's where the rotation is on radar. Again, getting a little more organized. Here's where Macomb is. So we've got Macomb right here, and then you've got Good Hope here, which if you remember last spring, we were actually tracking a severe storm into Good Hope. So kind of deja vu that we're going to be heading towards that vicinity again, but that is where we're going with this storm here as it tracks off to the, at this point it's moving east-northeast in terms of its trajectory. So if we put a path on this, this is the area here where that rotation is going to be moving. So you've got Bushnell, you've got Avon, Walnut Grove, and then eventually south of Abingdon is where you're going to see that rotation move through. Again, no warnings on any of this. Nothing is warned. Just kind of keeping an eye on it at this time to see what it's going to be doing here. Amy says she's home now. Let it roll. Yeah, I think you got home just in time, Amy, the way things are looking right now in Galesburg. Missy wondering about the weather in Moline, how that's going to be. Just some gusty winds and some rain, a little bit of lightning and thunder. Not seeing any severe weather for Moline at this time. It's going to stay off to the south. All right, just a location update as to where we are right now. Let's see here. I want to say it's McQuan. Yep. We are in the fabulous, exciting downtown McQuan, Illinois, of course. And still watching again some rotation. It's really lost a little bit of its punch. Looking at some of the latest scans, it's still there, but it's lost a little bit of its intensity. Not nearly as intense as it was, say, about 10 minutes ago or so. Becky says no wind in Galesburg yet. Linnell just got a notification on her phone from our app saying there's heavy rainfall in the area. There you got the Spoon River, just crossing the Spoon River now. You can see that darker sky there as we head west. Brenda's hearing some thunder in McQuon, which we just passed through. Yeah, sky's getting a little dark over there. Becky's got some thunder in Galesburg. Amy's got thunder as well. Brenda's got thunder in McQuon. Oh, that's a rough road. You can probably tell by the shaking of the camera on the roof that it's a little bit of a bumpy ride here. So this would be London Mills where we're at right now. Again, just on the other side of Knox County, extreme South Knox County. And we're continuing to head west here. But still appearing like the rotation that was near Macomb, still fairly weak. Not seeing a ton of organization with that. And I will pull up the velocity data here. So what we would want to see is some reds next to some greens. And we're not seeing nearly as potent of a rotation scan as we did earlier. And that was especially on the northeast side of Macomb. And since then, it's really just kind of fizzled out at this time. we're going to head up back to Interstate 74, just because really just nothing of organization anymore coming into to Bushnell and Avon, and even south of Abington. We've really lost a lot of the rotation that we had with this storm earlier. The organization too, just really falling apart. And really, you got to chalk this up to, again, we just did not get that instability today needed to get some of these storms to really take off. And that's the problem that we're still having. So that's some good news. And that, again, the severe threat is certainly rapidly decreasing for the immediate areas to the east of the Mississippi River. So we're looking at Burlington, Aledo, almost now out of Galesburg, the threat for any severe weather there. Some good rain coming down as we're heading back up to 74. Some welcome rain too. We've been in a little bit of a dry spell, though we still have kind of a surplus, if you want, if you say, going on from the rainy April that we encountered. We'll throw the radar back up here really quick so I can get you a visual as to what's going on in terms of where the activity is right now. So I'm going to draw this line here. If you're west of that line, everything Iowa, Burlington, Aledo, these areas over here, your severe threat is done. It's over. We're about to call the all clear for Galesburg here too shortly. So you can see the storm trying to get ready to get into Kewaunee here momentarily. Could see some strong winds with that. Some gusts of up to 40, 45 miles an hour. Velocity not nearly impressive here compared to some of the wind gusts we were looking at earlier. Continuing to be a very impressive storm heading into central Illinois. That would be near Beardstown, Mount Sterling. That's definitely south of our viewing area. That picks up the central Illinois market. So let me get back into regular radar mode here as we continue to make our way back up to Interstate 74. Could be some stronger wind gusts with this activity near Watauga and Ontario. That'll be heading for Galva and Lafayette, 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts or so with that activity. Other than that, not a whole lot of organization. And again, not too surprising because we did not get a lot of sun today, if any, for some of our hometowns. Some of us didn't see any sunshine at all, and we needed a little bit more of that energy, that storm energy, to really get things cooking around here in terms of a strong to severe storm. Just don't see it going on right now. So If you're west of the line that I drew, this line here, you're done. Severe weather threat is over for today. Now, we could still see some gusty winds as that line continues to scoot up to the north and the east. So running from Galesburg just to the south of Erie, Prophetstown, as you get into Walnut, Geneseo, Kewanee, could see some winds up to 40 miles an hour. But other than that, the threat really decreasing rapidly for any of this to potentially become severe. Yeah, certainly cooling down too. Mentioning that you can feel the air cooling down. Yeah, you're getting that rain-cooled air. This road.
That is bad. This is exceptionally bad.
Jesus. Crazy. Elizabeth today, we had maybe a peak or two. It was I'll tell you, you want a challenge. You try typing on a computer as you're barreling down a road like this, which is bouncing you all over the place. Up, did our hotspot reboot or doing something? We may have just lost maybe the internet signal. Oh, you're good. Haven't even seen any lightning yet.
No, it's been pretty disappointing.
Oh, wow. Update for you on the severe thunderstorm watch that has been allowed to expire for Hancock, Henderson, Mercy, and Warren counties in Illinois. So the severe threat quickly winding down, which is some welcome news. Getting some good rain here as we continue to head towards Interstate 74 in Knox County. Some good downpours coming through, and in fact, there's our first lightning that we've seen so far this journey, as we're getting into kind of the heavier rain here. A little more lightning action there. get you an update on the wind situation. So some gusty winds up to 40 miles an hour now heading into western Bureau County. So you're looking at New Bedford, Manlius, Sheffield, Neponset, also into southern Whiteside County, Tampico. This would be heading into, let's see, that would be well south of Sterling Rock Falls. So looking possibly clipping Deer Grove there. But again, nothing severe. In fact, the severe threat rapidly decreasing as we continue to drive along here. We're back on 74. We're going to go ahead and head back to the Quad Cities as our severe threat is again really winding down. The better dynamics just a little bit too far south of the area. Check, 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 check. Awesome. Yeah, I can hear you. Yep. Yeah, we're on Interstate 74 near Woodhull. Thank you. That was weird. Yep. Check, 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 check. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear me? I hear whistling. you. Hello, hello. Can you hear me? Still can't hear me, huh? Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Yes, but I'm also driving in a rainstorm.
We do have a poor signal right now, according to the Jajero. And I'm unmuted. It's getting audio. I see levels on Jajero.
You're on 3, right?
Yep. Check, check, check. Hello, 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 hello. Anybody hear me? Hello, hello, hello. Hello? Check, 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 check. Can you hear me now? Wow. Yes, I can. I must be in outer space or something. I don't know what's going on. Yes. There is that soothing, calming voice I've been looking forward to all day. Check, 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 check. I think we're just in a really bad reception area. I can hear you, yes. My conspiracy is that Mediacom deleted the meeting. For those of you still following us on Facebook here as we continue our jaunt along Interstate 74, to your left, a beautiful empty field. To your right, another beautiful empty field. But seriously, folks, on a serious note, it does look like the threat for severe weather is rapidly declining. Getting a nice steady rain. We're going to check in with News 8 at 5, which is starting right now. Yeah, James, we've been down here in Knox County for the majority of the afternoon, ever since about 2 o'clock or so, watching the storms progress from west to east. And I'll take you outside and show you exactly what we're seeing. Heading towards extreme southwest Knox County. We met up with that, and by the time it reached us, just fizzling out, like you said, just not enough sunshine to really get that storm energy going, which is what we needed to see some severe weather around here today. So instead, the good news is, like you said, we're getting some rain, and we certainly need that. We've had a bit of a dry spell. We've seen some heavier pockets of rain. We're just outside of Woodhull on I-74 right now. It's reduced visibility at times, but the ground can certainly handle the amount of rain that we're seeing right now, that nice soaking rain. Didn't see too much in the way of lightning as we were near the Galesburg area either, just a couple of flashes here and there, a little bit of wind, but nothing really too strong, estimating at about probably 20-30 miles an hour at times. But so far it looks like things are calming down, and now we're getting some welcoming rain here as we continue our trek back to the Quad Cities in the Beast. We'll send it back to you, Jim.